श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Since the last class was a washout, in terms of not being recorded, we'll do a redo. It won't come out the same way anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so let us chant verses 6 and 7 together. Abharupasya vishwasya bhanam bhasannidhervina kadachinnavakalpeta भाचाहं तेन सर्वगः नहि भानदृते सत्वं न ते भानञ्चितोचितः चित्सम्भेदोऽपि नाध्यासात् धृते तेनाहमद्वयः. So, let us go over the reasoning as it is. Little volume should be more. Let us. We should see the reasoning from the standpoint of the author. How the author thinks. We have to think like that. When we think how the author thinks, then moksha is not very far away. Moksha is never far away, but it becomes it becomes much more. We start thinking objectively. It's very, very nice. So, what is the author's thinking? There are certain points we have to follow. The first point is that the universe is jadam, inert. And we have already talked about this at length. Why is it inert? Because it cannot advertise itself. There's only one thing that is self-existent, self-evident, and that is you. Everything else is inert. So the meaning of inert is we have to understand. Because in English, we have a different connotation of inert. Inert means that which doesn't have life. This is not the Sanskrit definition. This is not the Shastric definition at all of inertness. Everything is alive according to the Shastra. But still things are inert because of their inability to be self-conscious. There is no self-awareness, and therefore there is no awareness of things other than themselves. There is no awareness of itself. So anything that is not aware of itself, anything that is not aware of other things around it is inert. And this is in different ways. I mean, sometimes we say sthavara jangama, but that also is not a good definition for sentient and inert. Sthavara, non-moving. Jangama, moving. But there are many non-moving things. Mushroom, it's not inert. Yeah. Sentient tree is not inert, but it is not moving. So therefore, we have to be careful about what we have to look again from the Shastra's standpoint of what inertness means. Inert is that which is also Satchidananda, but It does not have Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira Abhavat. It is called Jada. It does not have a subtle body, number one. Number two, therefore, it cannot advertise itself and it cannot cognize things other than itself. That is why we call it inert. Now, under that category, under these conditions, the entire universe of names and forms is included. Oh, but what about the jiva, the sentient jiva? Here, we are not talking of the jiva. We are talking of that, we are not talking of the jiva, we are talking of the names and forms, and all of them are inert. Even the names and forms of all the jivas are what? Inert only. They're all inert. Inert, 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 inert. But what about the I in the jiva that is self-aware? Even a dog is self-aware in its own way. It is more or less programmed, but it is still self-aware. But that I in the dog is the same I in me. There's only one I. Sarvagaha, that self, which is called Atma, which is called Brahman, Brahmatma, is all pervasive, we have seen, and it blesses every inert thing with its presence. That is basically what it is. And so the Atma, I, is only one thing, non-dually one we are going to find out. That is where we have to arrive. Non-dually one I, and then what else? The whole universe of names and forms that needs to be named, that needs to be understood, that needs to be named and understood, this whole universe of names and forms, and they are all what? Inert, 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 inert. Now, since, this is where we have to come, is that there are not many, many sentient objects. There's only one sentient subject and many, many inert objects. And that first this multiplicity of beings, we make into two first. Atma, Anatma. Inert, earth. No, sentient. Inert, sentient. So we make it into two, and then the two is also swallowed up. Aham tena advayah. I am therefore non-dual. This is where we have to go. And that going is a very interesting journey he takes us on, the author. And so what is the journey? The journey is that we are already on this journey. So the first part of the journey we have seen is that we make a distinction between the inert and the sentient. And the pat answer, even if we don't understand, is this. I am the only sentient thing in the whole universe. Everything else is inert. But then 8 billion people, everyone says, I am. That I is only one. There is no proof for that except the Shruti itself is the proof. Oh, I don't like the Shruti. I don't believe in the Shastra. Poof. That's all. The proof becomes poof. You don't have to believe, and then that means what? You won't understand what is there to say. Some Shraddha must be here. Because you cannot come to this understanding on your own. Therefore, Shruti is revealing yourself as the only thing in the universe that is sentient. This includes all other galaxies. Tomorrow, if we find life somewhere else, and then they come over here to say hello, because naturally they'll be more advanced than us. And somebody said that, how come we haven't contacted any intelligent life form? And then one of the astronomers said, I think it was Carl Sagan, said that we don't come under the radar of their high frequency. Too dumb yet to be discovered. So even if we contact, and let's say they come over to say hello, that sentience in them will be the same as this sentience. This is what we have to understand. So the second point is that there is only a single source of sentience, and that is Atma, Brahman, Brahmatma. There's no other source of sentience. And that sentience is non-separate from existence. And that existence also, there is a single source of existence. Guess what? Atma. Everything is because Atma is. And everything shines. Shines means sentient, self-aware, etc. Everything is aware, everything shines, everything is either aware of itself as in a sentient being, or it needs to be made aware as in a non-insentient thing. So this awareness, regardless, there is only one source, and that source is the I. I am the source of existence. Nay, I am existence embodied. And the embodiment of existence. I am the source of existence. I am existence incarnate. And then what? I am sentiency incarnate. I'm the only embodiment of sentience. That sentience, which makes me say I am a self-reflexive, self-evident, self-effulgent sentience. There's only one source, and I am that causeless source. There is no source other than me. Everything else is a resource. I am the source. Then how long? What kind of existence? We'll ask. How long does this existence last? Okay, you're the source of existence. It's a far cry. All right, I'll take you at your word. But how long does it last? Ananta, forever. It's an existence that never comes to an end. And how long does this sentiency last? Again, never ending. That's why we have the word Ananta, which knocks off the whole purpose of the word Ananta, as in Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, or Satchid Ananda. The word Ananda knocks off the limitations connected with Sat and Chit. Sat means we think until it dies. That's what it is. But no, here that notion is knocked off by the word Ananta, Ananda. And knowledge again is divided into, three. There is a triputi. Knowledge means what? Jnanam. So this jnanam, very interesting. Grammatically, the suffix is lyut. Jna plus lyut. Not lute, which you play. No, lyut. And that lyut by some sutra, 711, becomes anna. So Gnya plus Lut, we don't say Gnya Lu. What do we say? Gnya plus Lut becomes Gnya plus Anam. What does it happen? Gnya plus Anam is Jnanam. That's how we get the word. Now, this suffix is a very versatile suffix. A non-specific versatile suffix is this Lut slash Anam. And what does it do? It can refer to many things. Jnanam. So this anam can refer to the agent. So jna plus anam, jnanam, agent of knowledge. As in knower. I am the knower. And then it can jnanam, it can also refer to not just the agent of knowledge, but the object of knowledge. Jnanam, same word, same suffix. Then it can also refer to the means of knowledge, jnanam. So now, when the Shruti says Satyam Jnanam, Sat Chit Jnanam, so this Jnanam, are we referring to the agent? Is the Shruti referring to the agent of knowledge? No. Why? Because then the object will be left out. Here it's a jnanam that is anantam. So how this anantam has to knock off the notions that jnanam is equal to knower, that jnanam is equal to known, that jnanam is equal to means of knowledge. It has to knock off all the three. All three it has to knock off. And it does it in a fantastic way. by saying that jnanam ultimately is that knowledge, that knowing, that sentience, which without which the knower cannot exist, without which the known objects of knowledge cannot exist, without which the knowingness, the means of knowledge, also cannot exist. That which supports the knower, that which is the content of the knower, that which is the truth of the known, and that which connects the knower and the known through a means of knowing, that which bridges the knower and the known. This is jnana. So what is jnanam? Neither knower, nor known, nor the means of knowing. You make up your mind. Yeah. It is the truth of all three, but it is not any one thing. Because it is everything, it cannot be any one thing. Like ocean having three waves. Wave number one says, I know, I know, I know, janami, 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 I am the knower. That's a wave. Another wave is waiting to be cognized, object wave. And then the third wave says, I'll connect you two together. I think you'll get along fine. Knower and known. I am the means of knowledge. I am sight. I am hearing. I am this. I am that. Three waves. So can we say that the first wave is what? Is sustained by the ocean. Born of ocean. The knower wave is born of ocean, sustained by the ocean, resolves into the ocean. The second wave, object, the wave called object wave, is what? Is also born of ocean, sustained by ocean, resolved into the ocean. And the means of knowledge wave, sight, hearing, all these things, inference, etc., that also is what? Born of ocean, sustained by ocean, resolves into ocean. So all three waves are non-separate from the ocean. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yes. But is ocean wave? No. Ocean is not wave number one, wave number two, wave number three. Ocean is the truth of all three without becoming any one of them. That is what is jnanam. That is the sentience that we are talking about, which transcends the knower known knowledge. Knowledge means of knowledge divide. This is what is transcendence. And so the existence also transcends time. And this thing called knowledge, I mean, when we translate it as existence, knowledge, and be, bliss, capital B, I think you understand. May as well say gobbledygook. Yeah. What did you understand? Nothing. This is how the Shastra teaches. Very beautiful. This is how it has to be recognized. This is how it has to be understood. So, neither knower nor known, nor the bridge between the knower and the known. How does the knower come to know of the known? Through a means of knowledge. So, not a means of knowledge, not the knower, not the known, but that without which all three cannot exist. All three are mithya. The status I am the knower is mithya because why? It depends on this sentience. It depends on this Atma, the self-shining Atma. Without being supported by the self-shining Atma, the knower is as good as dead. No knower can exist. Object also cannot exist. The existence of the subject and the object is dependent upon the self-shining Atma. The knowledge of objects is dependent upon the self-shining Atma. The status of knower is dependent upon the self-shining Atma. All the means of knowledge that I operate is also dependent, or are all dependent upon the self-shining Atma. The self-shining Atma, I, is not dependent on any one thing, anything at all. So therefore, it doesn't matter how many PhDs you have. What a lovely conclusion. Because you're still stuck as knower. Ah. And the more investment you have done in studies and all these things, you're still knower, 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 and you have to keep up this knower. You have to keep pumping it up, like that old-fashioned bicycle pump. Yeah. So the attachment to knower. I know so many things. Very precarious attachment. It's like a house of cards. Gentle breeze is all is needed. Tumbling down. Tumbling down. So the status of knower is an as though superimposition on that self-shining I, which is free of being the knower. Oh, that means I don't know anything. That is another problem now. You have to take the ahankara on the shoulder and pat it. Make it burp all the wrong notions. Crazy. So the alignment, no, the identification, that's a better word. The identification with the I as the knower is a precarious identification. Because that status is dependent upon many, many, many things. Not just the Atma. Ultimately, everything is dependent upon the Atma, but the status of knower is dependent upon having a sound brain. Correct? Yeah. So something happens to the brain. Then what? Depression ensues. So let's say there is an accident, stroke, and what is that other thing? Alzheimer's, dementia. Then what? No? Depression. Immediately. Oh, I knew so much. I don't know anything. Now, there's a lovely book called A Stroke of Insight. Very nice. And neuroscientist she was, studying strokes and all these things. Top of her field. What was her name? Jill something. Bolte. Yes. This Jill Bolt or Bolte got a bolt from Bhagavan in the form of this stroke suddenly. And she recognized it because this is what she studies. She was at the peak of her career, one of the few neuroscientists who had done so much research, so many publications, very famous, so many awards. Nobody to catch her. And she herself admits in the book, she was insufferably proud, like Shvetaketu coming out of Gurukula. Classic case. And then she recognized herself having a stroke, and with a good hand, I think it was on the left side, but with a good side, she wrote a note because she was not even able to call. It turns out she did call her mother, but she was not able to talk. And the mother got worried and finally came, found the note, put her in hospital, and became a baby. Everything was new, fresh. She had to learn everything. To walk, to talk, to write, to read, everything. It was a very bad stroke. And but that led her, see, many people have strokes, unfortunately. But then what happens? That's not the place people go. It takes great grace and integrity to go to where she went. She went to this place of, all that is left is Ishvara, because this was completely out of control. And all the insights she had, and how she really grew up, and how her pride in her head had to vanish before she could just surrender to what is. And she very soon saw the beauty of the stroke. That's why she calls it a stroke of insight or something like that. A bolt of insight or something. I forgot the title. She saw that. She saw how without it she could not have come to this place. She got so many lessons. So you see, attachment to or identification with the status of knower is a recipe for instant samsara. No, we have a very complicated dish called rasam. I mean, it's not complicated, but you have to do it right to get the correct taste. But then nowadays there is cubes of instant rasam. I haven't tried it, but somebody said instant rasam. So if you want instant samsara, immediately tell, I know, I'm the knower, I'm the knower. Instant samsara. You don't have to let it marinate, simmer, nothing. You don't have to add tamarind, you don't have to add powder, you don't have to add anything. If you want instant samsara, say, I know, I'm the knower. Me and knower are one and the same. That's the thing. Because this identification makes you identify with yourself as mithya, with mithya, not with satyam. Pramata, pramatru. So pramata means what? Hello? No. Knower, yes. No. Yeah. So pramata is knower. And then prameya, no, object. Subject, pramata, object, prameya. Object means don't take one object, all the objects together. Prameya, 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 prameya. Pramata, prameya, and that which connects the pramata to the prameya, pramanam, means of knowledge. Pramata is mithya, and as though superimposition upon the Atma, which is free of being knower. Atma means I. And as though superimposition, because if the superimposition is real, it cannot be removed. Prameya, again, and as though superimposition upon the Atma, which is free of being object. So therefore, this object-subject divide is swallowed up. And the means of knowing, which is very close to, which is handled by the knower here. Therefore, it is closely guarded by the knower. I see, I hear. Pashyami, Shrunomi, Grinnami. So the karmendriya, jnanendriya, all of them that come here are what? They are also, like they are accoutrements to the knower that connect the knower to the known. And so identifying as any of these three is an instant recipe for samsara. Instant samsara. And therefore what? I am neither the knower, nor the known, nor the means of knowing, and yet I support my presence, my sentiency supports, gives the satta. Satta means the support. So my existence, without my existence, I as the knower don't know anything, cannot have a leg to stand on. Without my existence, without lending my existence, the world of objects cannot shine, cannot even exist. Without lending my sentience, see, neither subject nor object nor means of knowledge can exist. That knowledge of Vedanta, that knowledge of oneness, which knocks off the pramata in one fell swoop, pramata, prameya, pramana, knower, known, means of knowing, that is what we need. That is why Vedanta is different from all other means of knowledge, all other bodies of knowledge, all other branches of knowledge, because in every other branch of knowledge, the subject-object divide is not disturbed, not questioned, and is in fact buttressed and kept apart and kept going. If I study microbiology, I have one more feather in my hat. I have studied this, I am this, I am that, I can do this now, I am the knower of this. The knower is not disturbed. And as I have said many, many times, after studying microbiology for 50 years, the professor walked into the class, walked crawled, became a microbe, became one with the knowledge. And the students, madam, where are you? And one tentacle, the microbe lifted. Yeah. With this knowledge, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, Mundakopanishad. The knower of Brahman, Bhavati we should not translate as becomes, is, was already, but understands that I am Brahman. So, in other words, the knowledge of the Atma is a knowledge where a knower cannot claim the knowledge. It's a knowledge without the knower. Brahma Vidya is a knowledge without the knower. Where is the knower of Brahma Vidya? You who nobody will raise their hands if they know. To illustrate this, the teacher in the Kena Upanishad poses a quiz. All those who know Brahman, raise your hand. Eager beaver student sitting in the front. Me, I know Brahman, revered sir. And says, the teacher says, what you know is smaller than a little dust ball, dust bunny. If you say you know Brahman, you are apart from Brahman. Brahman becomes an object of knowledge and you as a knower is intact. So how can you say I know Brahman? Because this is a knowledge which is one with you. It is here you are claiming it as separate. That's the wrong answer. Student sits down, shamefaced. Another student has a bright idea. If I know Brahman is the wrong answer, what's the right answer? I don't know Brahman. Maybe I don't know Brahman. I know. You know, seeing your face, I know you don't know. Shut up. Sit down. Seeing your face, it's very evident that you have ignorance of Brahman. Then the right answer is given by an extremely clever student who also likes wordplay. Naham manye suvedeti, no na vedeti vedacha, yo nastadveda tadveda, no na vedeti vedacha. I won't say I know Brahman very well, meaning as an object. But at the same time, I will not say I don't know Brahman at all. Moreover, whoever understood what I said knows Brahman. Like that. So it's a knowledge without a knower. Very beautifully illustrated in this Upanishad full of paradoxes. Kena Upanishad. Very beautifully illustrated. So knowledge where the knower cannot claim I know because the very act of claiming creates a division between the knower and the known. And it is a knowledge that is simply is, and that isness happens to be you, and that isness is a self-shining, self-evident isness that never comes to an end. So it's a limitless isness, it's a limitless knowledge, and because it is a limitless existence and limitless knowledge, it is always enjoyable because it never changes and it is forever. Forever it is a source of joy because what I want is forever. You don't want money. No, you don't know me. I do want money. If you were to tell me. Money nobody even sees. It's all a small card or it's a paycheck. It's just in the form of a number which goes in the bank and you see the number. What happens when you see the bank balance? Either the heart goes inside the stomach, plummets down, or the heart is singing a song. Oh, yay! I'm rich. So what if you're rich? Let you be rich. Well, That means I am secure for now. Secure. So money is not, money doesn't make you happy. Money represents happiness because it represents security. And I want to be a secure being. That's why I seek money. It becomes a very important purushartha, artha purushartha. Money represents security. Security represents happiness because I can't stand to be insecure. That's why there is a frenzy to save money, to earn money, and finally to protect money from itself because there is inflation. It's the only thing in the world which has to be protected from itself. So when I can make that divestment, what is that? That money, the fact that I think money represents security is my own projection upon money. Like Maitreyi was told by sage Yagyavalkya, money is neither makes you have moksha, nor makes you deny moksha, nor denies you moksha. So, the subjective view of money is my own projection upon the money, which I think will make me happy. And who is saying this? The happy person is saying this. The happy person who is already happy forever is looking for scraps in order to be happy. And so, therefore, when we understand this, Satchit Ananda as myself, the world starts to look very different. They are all objects. First thing, I am the subject, and the object is non-separate from me, existence, knowledge. The first we have to say the object is as good as knowledge of the object. So the object is nothing but knowledge. And I am that knowledge. So I am non-separate from that knowledge of the object. And I am non-separate from the means of knowing. And so everything is non-separate from me, but I am not relying on any one of them for my existence. Therefore, I am non-dual. Very big, therefore. Aham advayaha. Advayaha means I'm non-dual. Why? Because jnata jnanam jneyam. Pramata prameya pramana. All these are what? Bubbles in the oceanic limitless consciousness. How long does a bubble last? Kshanika, 1 minute. By the time you say the word bubble, it has come and gone. It's a little bubble in the ocean of consciousness. The status of knower, subject, little bubble. Object, few more bubbles. Means of knowledge that the two bubbles sometimes get connected, and object bubble is connecting the subject bubble with the means of knowledge. That also is a bubble. So, therefore, what is there? Only this oceanic consciousness, limitless oceanic consciousness as I. Okay, I think we are going somewhere. All right. Where? Let us find out. All right, I'm this oceanic consciousness. It's kind of sounds nice, and I feel nice and swimmy and rocked by the waves of oceanic consciousness. But what about the other things? What should be the answer? What other things? Huh? What other things? You know, the things that cause fear, things that cause sorrow, things that cause me to feel incomplete. What about those things? Again, the answer is what? What other things? This should be the understanding. This should be the vritti. This should be where we need to go. What other things? You know, lunch. Yeah. Tea break is coming. What about tea break? That's a thing. That's another thing. As though lunch. How can I fill up my stomach with an as though lunch? Because it's an as though stomach. No. The as though stomach is filled up with the as though lunch because it's as though hungry. A very famous story Pujya Swamiji used to tell. In the king's court, there was a Dvaitin, a dualist, one who was fond of duels, is a dualist, and an Advaitin, a non-dualist. Because in those days they didn't have cable TV, reality TV. This is what they had to do for entertainment. And so the Raja, what did the Raja do? Have them talk to each other and just sit back, relax, and listen. This was his talk show, Dvaita, Advaita dialogue. And the two scholars were at loggerheads with one another. The Advaitin kept saying, "You are a waste of time," and the Dvaitin kept saying, "You are a hypocrite. You just keep saying everything mithya, mithya, mithya. That's the only word you know. Only one word you know. Mithya, 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 mithya. Okay, maybe you know the word satyam. Only two words. You start your day with satyam mithya, you end your day with satyam mithya. You don't have anything. Yours is not even a philosophy. And you're a hypocrite. This is how they sparred with each other all the time. Then they went on a royal hunt. Sat down under a tree to enjoy a picnic before the hunt. A rustling in the bushes behind them was heard. And there were footsteps, running footsteps of the villagers, the nearby village. Man-eater tiger on the loose. Run. Man-eater means woman-eater also. Okay. Not that the tiger has a gender preference. Oh Lord, I'm doing a lot of papa. Let me only eat men. No. Tiger, tiger, on the loose. And the footsteps went away. The villagers, kicked up a lot of dust and ran. And then out of the king's party, the one that ran first was who? Advaitin, not the Dvaitin. The non-dualist ran first. And then everybody else followed. And then what? When they were in a place of safety, having left the picnic for the tiger. We have to complete our sentences. Otherwise, there's a little bit of hanging question. Of course, one is supposed to focus on the thing at hand. The mind is crazy because what happened to the picnic? Were they able to salvage? Yeah. It's just like when there is a problem with the aircraft. What do they say? Leave your things behind. That's what they had to do here. Tiger enjoyed the picnic, and then here they were safely. Tiger didn't follow them because it had something to eat, and so here they were safely panting. Ah, that was close. OMG, we made it. Thank God. Then what happened? The duelist was out. His knives were out. And he said, Raja, Maharaja, see what happened, Your Majesty? See, the one who says everything is one, everything is non-dual, everything is mithya, 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 mithya. Mr. Mithya was the first one to run. And if everything is non-dual and everything is mithya, then why should he run? And the king thought this is a very important question. The king said, yes, this fellow has a point. If everything is mithya, why did you run from the mithya tiger? If everything is mithya, therefore what? Tiger is also what? Mithya. So from mithya tiger, why did you run? Calmly, the non-dualist said, Maharaj, who said running is satyam? I as though ran from the as though tiger. Another story is also told to illustrate this. This is from the ancient times. This is, I think, I don't know if it's true or made up, but nonetheless, it's very enjoyable. Therefore, I'm digressing. It's nice because mithya is not for the faint of heart. It's good to understand this. So, in the olden days, before one had one's main meal of the day, which was lunch, one had to go outside the door, look to the left, look to the right, and say, anybody there? Who needs to be fed, and whoever it was that showed up, they had to ceremoniously be brought into the house, their feet washed, fed, and then only the owners of the house could eat. This is how one, this is bhuta yajna. This is a form of a yajna. This is a form of a ritual of giving. 5 types of givings are practiced. This is a very important atithi yajna. It is called bhuta yajna atithi. Bhuta yajna is feeding animals. Atithi yajna. Atithi means not somebody who invite for lunch. Somebody who is there waiting, who invites themselves for lunch in your house. You have to feed. And so they were this newly married couple. They did not want to do this. They did not want to do this ritual of feeding. Yet it was prescribed by the Shastra. And the wife was a wonderful cook. Whole neighborhood would be smelling wonderful. But nobody had ever tasted their food. You just make small, tasty amounts, and that was it. Only the husband and wife would eat. They did not believe in sharing. They did not do this. So then there are wandering brahmacharis who go for bhiksha. And so one of them thought to himself, I've never eaten at this house. When do they even call out? They won't call out. Actually, they kind of called out. The man would go slowly, just open the door a little bit and say, anybody there? I'm hungry. Anybody wants food? And quickly close the door before anybody could say yes. So this man spied on the, stalked the house and cased the joint, and then found out that he just whispers. So he crouched low right by the door. And the next day, the man or the woman opened the door. Anybody there? Yes, I'm there. Forced his way inside. And then the husband and the wife, they had just made delicious things just for themselves in small pots, which exactly what the Bhagavad Gita says not to do in chapter 3. And then they were in a quandary. The wife summoned the husband to the other room. And there they hatched a plot. Because nobody should go and eat in anybody's house if the husband and wife or the people, the members of the family are having a fight. We must not disturb. We must just walk out. So she said, let's pretend to have a fight. Then that fellow will go away. Then all this food will be just for us. We don't have to share with this idiotic brahmachari who has somehow thinks too, he is too clever by far. And this is what we are going to do. So, what are we going to do? The husband will be not terribly bright. What are we going to do? You pretend to beat me and I will cry out. And so there was a wet towel in the room and he banged it on the floor and it made a rap, 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 terrible noise. And she said, Mercy, Mercy, don't beat me. Why are you doing this? We used to be such a loving couple and now you are fighting with me. And then take that, he said. And then there was a scuffle. And then what? And then the wet towel went into, this is all summarizing, okay, from far, inferring. Then looked like she snatched the wet towel and said to him, take that, while just beating the towel on the floor and making terrible noises. And then they came out. After a little while, everything was quiet. So they slowly opened the bedroom door and they came out. No brahmachari, only nice food. They put the banana leaves for themselves. And of course, they had to congratulate and pat themselves on the back. And the first one, the husband said, "See how I beat you without beating you?" She said, "Yeah, that was really good. See how I also beat you without beating you?" Yeah, that was very good," said the husband. And then the wife said, "See how I cried without crying?" Husband said, "Yeah. And see how we drove away that brahmachari? And see how I also cried?" The husband said, "Without crying, I also cried." And there was a pillar on the house which, led to the roof. And the brahmachari came down the pillar. He was just hiding there. "Ta-da!" he said. "See how I went away without going away? Feed me." He knew everything. When we know the world of as though, that it is as though, then the Jagat becomes a lot of fun. We can have so much fun. It's endless fun. Everything is entertainment. It's just so much fun. But then, when the as though is lost, it is as though everything is lost. As though has to be front and center in my awareness. And so, therefore, we divide the reality, as it were, into three. Paramarthikam, the order of reality, where there is nothing other than me. In fact, this is the only order. This is reality. This is really real. This is the only reality. But since there is a manifest universe, which of course is in question, but that's a topic for some other text, not this one. Or maybe later, if we are able to graduate to that point, we can discuss it. But right now, let us see that the reality of the manifest universe enjoys a dependent reality, which is called mithya, a dependent reality. So mithya is not an item in the Jagat or the collective items in the Jagat. Mithya is the reality status of the Jagat. And so this order of mithya reality is called Vyavaharikam Sat, Paramarthikam Sat, absolute reality where there is nothing other than Sat Chit Ananda. But since we live in a manifest universe, therefore we have to account for it. And the accounting takes place by calling it the empirical reality or the transactional reality, where exactly that happens. Transaction happens. Vyavaharikam Sat. Then, in this reality of the everyday, in the empirical reality of give and take, if this is not understood as an as though manifestation of Brahman, myself, as though manifestation of Atma, then I give rise to the third order of reality, which is Pratibhasikam Sat. Pratibhasikam means my own reality. Vyavaharikam means objective reality. It is there, therefore I see it. Therefore you also see it. It's a commonly understood thing because we all use the means of knowledge to cognize this flower. We all use the means of knowledge to say This is what it looks like. We are all in agreement that it is of several shades of orange. We are all in agreement that it has a fragrance, right? So this is Vyavaharikam Sat, shared objective reality. But then I start to say, for example, look at this lovely mango. How lovely it is. Look at this mango. Would you like to have a mango for a tea break? Here. What will you say? Up till now, she was okay. This Advaita Makaranda is getting to her. First, you will look at each other. Did she really say mango? Yes, yes, she said mango. Something is wrong, right? So, if I see it as mango and you see it as rose, rose every day, yeah, then what happens? There is a problem. We are no longer occupying the same shared reality because I have reverted to a personal reality, I have subscribed to a personal reality that has nothing to do with what is here. This is pratibhasikam. Vyavaharikam, empirical reality. It is there, therefore I see it. Pratibhasika, subjective reality. I see it, therefore it must be there. Do you see the difference? So now, if we are ready to graduate, who already? Yeah, sure. If we are ready to graduate, we can see what some very advanced scholars, advanced thinkers in Vedanta say. They do away with the middle order of reality. The transactional reality is not there at all, they say. What is there is Paramarthika and then Pratibhasika. Oh, but how can you swallow up a whole order of reality? The empirical reality you have swallowed up. How is that even possible? Because their contention is this, that anyhow, whatever you see with the eyes of subjectivity. Even this that we can agree upon is an orange rose, still there is subjectivity. I would like to have this rose. That's a subjectivity. Wonder where it came from. Subjectivity, because I'm already on my own trip. I'd like to know how to grow this. Subjectivity. All the sight of rose makes me sad. Why? Nobody gives me any rose. Nobody gave any rose to me ever. Rose associated with sorrow. So this is sorrows. Yeah. Series of sorrows. Rose. So the rose, even though it's an objective entity, is vitiated by my subjectivity anyway. Invariably vitiated by my subjectivity. If 200 people are seeing the rose, the same rose, they will have 200 impressions of this, including a wrong estimate of the size, the color, everything. So therefore, the Drishti Srishti Vada by one Swami Prakash Atman, that posits that even though there may be an objective reality, why break our heads over the empirical reality when it doesn't even matter, when you're going to distort it anyway? Jiva Srishti is going to come, right? In understanding Ishvara Srishti, Jiva Srishti is very much operational. Jiva Srishti means Pratibhasika. Pratibhasika means subjective reality. Your own srishti. You are looking at everything with the patina of your own subjective raga dvesha overlay and unconscious pain, etc. overlay. So anyhow, you are varnishing the objective reality, which is Ishvara Srishti, with your subjective paint, which is your overlay. And if that much is understood, then second point they make is, what is the point of studying Vedanta? Is to understand that the Srishti, even Ishvara Srishti, is dependent upon you, Ishvara, is dependent upon I, Atma. Tasmad va etasmad atmana akasha sambhutah, etc. The Shruti says so. So if I am to swallow up the objective reality as an extension of myself, so to speak, then why bother discussing it? Why bother giving birth to it and discussing it only if it is to be swallowed up? And besides, Ishvara Srishti is benign. It is not the cause of pain, it is not the cause of sorrow. Oh, but what about so many deaths? Death is not a cause of sorrow. Oh, but then there is people crying. And that's because they don't know. What about all this? What about pain? What about sorrow? That is exactly what the whole point is. That sorrow cannot touch this I if I know what this I is. Oh, but I'm a human being. That's the problem, okay? Yeah. That identification is the problem. But I want to be sad. Some people say that. If I take away sadness, I don't exist. This is not true. This is really, really untrue. And so, therefore, there is this understanding that has to come. That first is this Jagat, Jayate, Gachati, is born, is gone, is anyhow swallowed up. The subject-object divide is swallowed up. We just followed that up in the first part of the class. Subject-object divide is swallowed up. And so therefore what? Therefore all that is there is me. This is the end point of Vedanta. So why discuss Ishvara Srishti? Why have this intermediary reality? Why give it a reality when you are only subsuming it in the I as an incidental expression of the I, not intrinsic to the I, this Jagat is. So it's an incidental expression. Like from the standpoint of gold, the ornament, the bangle, the chain, the nose ring, the bracelet, everything is an incidental expression of itself. Being bangle is not important for gold. From the standpoint of gold, it is an incidental expression. So why count the ornaments when you know that gold is one and that is where you are headed? First reason why the second order of reality is not discussed at all. And the second reason it is not discussed is because whatever whatever you are seeing, there is a subjectivity. It's vitiated by your subjectivity. Sometimes it's a collective subjectivity. There is a collective mirage. Everybody is, just because everybody is seeing it doesn't mean it's real, doesn't mean it's correct. In the olden days, everybody thought the earth was flat, like a chapati. Didn't make it correct. Just because majority thought that. That's a shared subjectivity. So for those reasons, this Drishti Srishti Vada, what it says is that whatever you see is your own subjective reality, is vitiated by your own subjective reality. And all that is there is the I. And that is what has to be known, has to be abided in. So we don't do that. We have a discussion of the three orders of reality because we need a place to stand from where we can look at that Paramarthika and discuss that, from where we can look at our own subjectivity. We have to be having some place to stand, at least for now. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.